I learned something too. 11,000 people voted for me. I hope they were voting less for me and more for the things that I talked about in the campaign. That's what I hoped. Because I don't think that my campaign has ended yet. And I don't think that my responsibility to those 11,000 people have disappeared yet. And so I've come up with some ideas, some things I'd like for all of us to be thinking about, and maybe some of you would like to get involved with here in the next several months, maybe even the next several years. And I wrote down some of those ideas. First of all, there are things that we can do to make our state better right now. When I campaigned because I was upset, for example, about the lack of the Teaching Fellows program. Marty, I'm disgusted. His two daughters, God bless them, they're both teaching fellows in North Carolina. They both benefited from one of the most progressive educational scholarship programs in our country. And it is now gone. The Republicans have put the last nail in that coffin. Well, let me tell you one of the things I hope to do. I hope I don't scare anybody. I want to start something called the Teaching Fellows Foundation. It will have... It's going to have three primary purposes. Purpose number one is to raise money for scholarships for people who would like to have a career in education in North Carolina and who would like to make a commitment to stay here and teach our kids when it's done and over with. And I think it's a valuable program, and it could be something that together we could work on and start building from the ground up. It's not going to happen overnight. You don't raise enough money to pay for a child's education for 4 years by just shouting out to the world, hey, send us money. We have to show that we have a commitment. Part two of the Teaching Fellows Foundation is advocacy. I'd like us to work to advocate for a reinstatement of the Teaching Fellows program here in North Carolina by putting together a powerful lobbying group. A group of people who are not afraid to knock on doors and let people like Chris Whitmire know how important it is that we reinstate the Teaching Fellows program. It's one of the great programs that we have. The third job this group is going to have is to raise money to support schools to help them with the purchase of textbooks. In North Carolina, our schools are getting approximately $16, is that right? It's about $16 a kid for textbooks. Nowhere near what they need to learn in their schools. Hendersonville Elementary, see what you get when you go to other counties. Hendersonville Elementary School, I learned from Sonia that instead of textbooks, the kids who are, Sonia, by the way, is a woman who's running the school board there. I forgot her last name. Garanda. Sonia Garanda came in one of our meetings, probably to the chili cook-off, probably the wrong place to bring it. And she had a little notebook belonged to her child from Hendersonville Elementary. And in it was pasted the pages of the textbook she was supposed to have, but they didn't have enough of. That's not acceptable. This calls for the raising of lots of funds. It calls for a lot of work going to Raleigh, talking to people all over the state about how important this is, and we can bring this organization together right from the get-go. We can start small and build up. Like I said, things like that don't happen overnight, and they don't need to. We can bring change. And you don't have to be elected to office to bring change. I still will remember that I have 11,000 people who have trusted me with a message. And I'm going to take that message to heart and follow through with it. The other thing I'd like to do is a promise I made also. I put it in the newspapers every place, and that was the issue of town halls. Opportunities for people to get together and share ideas. These will be nonpartisan town halls held in neutral zones where nobody will get scared because of the word Democrat or Republican. But instead where we can announce in a newspaper, the Transylvania Times, certainly the Tryon Daily Bulletin, and the Hendersonville, although I'm mad at those Tryon Daily Bulletin. They missed me altogether the first time as well. Never mind. That's but I paid for them to put ads in the paper, and they just sort of skipped the first day. They just said, oh, we're so sorry we made a mistake. It's okay, the election's over. It's not a big deal. Put it in now. But that really did happen, by the way. But anyway, no, they really didn't publish it after the election, but they had to squish them in, but not when I wanted. To put in there, to find a neutral site, and put in that today, we're going to be having a town hall on hunger in our community. Bring in some knowledgeable people on the issue, and let us just have an unscripted talk about our concerns and a brainstorming session for solutions. Sometimes the solutions are there. In Buncombe County, we've got the Manor Food Bank, and I know in every other county there are people collecting food for folks, but if that's so successful, why are we still sending kids home who are not getting their meals and not having food to eat at night? We need to find a way of getting these agencies together. Those are just a couple of examples of things I'd like to continue working on, even though I haven't been elected to office. And I don't really feel like I lost anything. That's important for you all to hear. I'd have been very depressed on election night if I felt like I lost anything. I didn't. What I've won is a gazillion opportunities because of the fine people I've met, the good people I've met who care about things and who want to work together to make change in Western North Carolina. And we shouldn't give up. We should be more hopeful than ever because we can be energized. We can work. We can have dreams. And what I always said to my campaign is, when we win, when we all win, we all win. When we all win, we all win. If we can find a way of lifting up people who need food, if we can find a way of fighting for a fair pay hike for them so that they have a living wage, we can do this. We can do that work. We don't have to quit because we're not elected. We have to bring pressure to bear. Republicans don't like it when people pressure them. We can pressure them. We can push on them. We can annoy the heck out of them. We can continue to work with organizations like Carolina Jews for Justice and the NAACP to put Moral Mondays together and continue that fight from now until whenever the fight can end. It doesn't need to stop. Haven't decided really where yet. Been thinking about a lot of things. Pretty much had the decision made 2 or 3 days ago. I said, you know something? I need to sit back and think for just a little bit longer. Where would my energies best be spent and how can I spend them best? Right now, my energies can best be spent by working for change. By working for change and hopefully building an organization of people who would like to work with me. That's why we're here today. There's Ray Gasperson. Ray, wave at everybody. Ray, I want you all to hold your breath. Ray is a Democrat and he won a seat on the county commission in Polk County. The Musketeers all had the right message. And things don't always go the way you want, but we don't ever have to quit. We don't have to give up. We don't have to say, well, they don't want my message, so I'm going away and sitting in a garden and eating a worm somewhere. I'm not 10 years old anymore. However, I still believe the message of Kennedy, King, and the great leaders of my youth. I still believe that there's nothing we Americans cannot accomplish, and I still believe that when we Americans work together, there's no task too great to accomplish. And there is so much to be done. We must bring our two Americas together, lest our house divided against itself collapse. I hope all of you people will join me in praying that the leaders of today will work to inspire, I read that wrong. Will join me in prayer that the leaders of today will work to inspire us to hunt down our greatest enemies. Our greatest enemies are poverty, racism, and those things can absolutely destroy our country. We can do better. We will do better. Let's think today and from now on that we are not the people who finished in second place, but that we are winners in every sense of the word, and there's nothing we cannot accomplish. Right, Carl?
Got that right.
Yeah. Let's not hang our heads. Let's be proud. We've shared a good message, and we're going to continue sharing that message. Thank you all for coming. Please.